Hello, I'm Jennifer Bradley, and I'm going to tell you about the differences in a traditional Catholic church versus a modern Christian church. I'm Catholic and usually attend church at Our Lady of Victory in Davenport. This is a traditional Catholic church that serves hundreds of local Catholics. For this assignment, I went to Harvest Bible Chapel in Davenport. This church serves hundreds of local Christians. The services of the two churches were different, but the message is pretty much the same. Treat others with kindness and serve the Lord. I will talk about how the two churches are the same and how they are different. First, let's look at the differences. When I walked into Harvest, it looked very different. There was a fancy cafe where you could buy lattes, and there was also a table selling merchandise. I wouldn't know I was in a church if it wasn't for the name. The worship area looked like a stadium with movie theater style seats, where I'm used to seeing pews. And there were no pictures of Jesus anywhere. At my church, Jesus is a big focus. There is a large cross with a crucified Jesus in front above the altar, and there are pictures of Jesus scattered throughout. The services were very different. A Catholic Mass is organized through 2,000 years of tradition. The same Mass is delivered in every Catholic service everywhere. Bible passages are read from the Old and New Testament, and a sermon is given by our priest, Monsignor Perizic. Priests in the Catholic Church are well studied on the Bible and Christian faith. They are able to decipher Bible texts to give insightful sermons that tie into Bible readings. Several times throughout Mass, members perform the sign of the cross to recognize the Holy Trinity of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We kneel down during certain parts to show our respect, and we say certain prayers as congregations, such as the Nicene Creed or the Lord's Prayer. We also reflect on the crucifixion each week, as we are told of the night Christ was betrayed, and then we go on to take bread and wine. Everything we do focuses on God and Jesus. The service at Harvest was much different. There were none of the traditions that I'm used to. The service began by rocking out to the church band that played several New Age Christian rock songs, complete with guitars, drum, professional lights, and sound system. The pastor, just a regular guy from Davenport, gave a lecture. Although a few Bible passages were referenced, none were read. The lecture was a plea for members to check yourself. Are we being kind? Are we being loving? I believe one prayer was said as they passed the basket around, but there were no traditional prayers recited. The two services appeared very different, however there were similarities. Spreading the word and working for the Lord were present at both churches. I see many great outreach programs at both services. At Harvest, they talked about teen programs, helping in Guatemala, and helping women in need. This is very similar to my church that has many of the same types of programs. I was also able to see that members of each church held faith. At Harvest, members held their hands up high as they sang and danced to the music. They bowed their heads respectfully as the pastor recited his prayer, and they were welcoming to my son and I, just as they were at Our Lady of Victory when we were new members there. Can a person worship and get the same kind of faith from a modern Christian church as a traditional Catholic one? I will examine my findings in my conclusion. There are many differences between the two churches. They look different and the services are very different. My Catholic church, or any Catholic church, is bound by tradition and has a large focus on Jesus and the crucifixion. I see Harvest Church as the light version of Christianity, where Jesus is mentioned, but the main focus is just on living right. Although there are differences, I see great things coming from both. Both churches have a focus on living right, treating others with dignity, and reaching out to those in need. Both churches also seem to be filled with members who love God. The services of the two churches were different, but the message was pretty much the same. Treat others with kindness and worship the Lord. I will continue going to my Catholic church, but if I ever feel like rocking out with Jesus, I know I will be welcome to do so at Harvest.